You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Welcome you back to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Wow. Thank you all so much for being here.
The community-driven podcast for photographers just like you. Just like you.
Just like you, Tim.
And you.
And you.
And you.
And you. All of you.
All of you. We'll start with a little meditation, I think. A little grounding exercise before we get into this episode, just because it's nice to have a beautiful moment to touch grass.
Breathing in for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathing out to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll be touching it with her every now and then just to make sure that you're calm, collected, cool for this episode, because we're talking about the messy middle of wedding season, which is what we're in right now.
It's currently July.
We're
freaking the fuck out.
It's nearly July. It's July. It's July, I think. I don't know what day it is. Listen.
Yeah, wow.
You know more than better and almost the same probably that we do that it's a crazy time of year. The backlog is logging and backing of the edits you need to do. The customer emails are going out every day. They're coming back in 3x. So everyone you send out, you get 3 more that coming back in. A little boomerang effect. Yeah. And you're feeling it.
July is an interesting time because if you're anything like Tim and I, you probably have shot, picking things up, say April, May. Okay. April, May, June. You had a little bit of a chill start, hopefully. And then, May and June are always Bananarama. And for us here in Ontario, it basically went from rain to full-on summer. So we are now shooting more than we're in the office. But we're still now having to deliver. It's a funny little game we play. Yeah. It's a funny game we play as photographers because we have so much input and hopefully an equal amount of output that we are putting out that is, on par with the amount that you're shooting. But there just are only so many hours in the day and everybody's excited. Yeah. Everybody's excited to see the photos that you've created.
Totally. And you're excited to edit them. I'm sure you are. I know you are.
Yes, hopefully you are. And if you're not, I get that too. But Tim and I are, we're in the middle. We're in the messy middle.
Yeah. Today,
I called Tim while I was driving home from Oakville. Somebody had just smashed their car into my car door. I say that so dramatically.
Yeah, it wasn't an accident.
I walked back to my car in the middle of a shoot to grab a flash. My car was so hot because it's 36 degrees Celsius that my flash battery, I'm pretty sure, is melted. And actually just literally the flash wouldn't turn on. I thought, cool, that's awesome. But not only that, somebody opened their car door into my car door.
Which you didn't witness, but you saw the aftermath.
There's a massive dent, like not a little dent, like a dent so aggressive that the paint transferred from their car door onto my car door.
Good.
Though there is a hole punched into it.
Great.
It's not good. And I wasn't having a really great day prior to that happening.
No.
I had just done an hour and a half drive. I missed my exit. I was like surrounded by transport trucks. I am feeling it left, right, and center right now from clients, from my own expectations, my to-do list.
From the sun.
From the Lord himself giving us the world's hottest summer thus far. It's unbelievable.
Let's take a minute.
So nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
It's quite lovely. Oh, that's nice.
Tim's going to use this, I feel like, a lot in the studio because my blood pressure has been rising lately. And I feel like you and I feed off of each other in a lot of ways, both good and bad.
Helpful and not helpful. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah. You're very good at being like, we should take a breath right now. Or like, you just like start giving me more calming energy so that I'm like, okay, I should check in with myself here because I'm not being a really fun person to work around.
We're going to talk today about the differences between stress and anxiety because they're very different things.
Yes.
We're also going to give you some helpful tips of what you can do during this wedding season to show up for yourself better, show up for your clients better, and get through it in a way that feels positive and makes you not want to quit this industry by the time November rolls around.
This is a thing. This happens every year, right? Yeah. This isn't new to us.
Isn't new.
I often think of seasons like I can feel them in my body. I think of the end of August, beginning of September reminds me of like being a kid and that back to school anxiety. I've been doing this for long enough now that July, end of June, July, August, like there's a point in there, and it's usually a couple of weeks where I can feel it. I can just feel it. I feel it coming at me from all angles of, I know that there's not a really bright end in sight yet. You know what I mean? We still have a lot of the year left, which is a good thing. Thank God.
Oh yeah.
God willing, we get to have a lot of this year left. But, you know, I think it really brings up the conversation that we like to have with each other of like, is this fun? Are we enjoying this?
Yeah.
And what can we do to make this more enjoyable?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to embrace the suck. So,
and sometimes it's just about recognizing the difference between, like I mentioned, stress and anxiety.
Yeah,
so stress is a trigger response that you get when you know you have to do a task, I'd say,
like
if I was to boil it down. You know?
I would say, you know, stress and anxiety, it's, I just said this to somebody last week because I felt like, oh, I'm really anxious. And I haven't been anxious in a really long time. I used to have like what I thought to be truly like a general anxiety disorder.
Yes.
Then I started taking ADHD medication, and it's funny how that cleared so much of that up. Niche, maybe not niche. I don't know. But I said to a friend, I'm feeling like actually really anxious lately. I've been like laying in bed at night thinking about my workload. I wake up first thing in the morning and I want to just say immediately screw it to my workout and get into emails because I'm thinking about 3 people I have to reply to. And that sort of
spiraling.
Yeah. But then I had a little chuckle with myself of like, that's not anxiety. That's stress, because those are really tangible things that I am stressed about. I am stressed about my inbox.
Yep.
And I am stressed about client delivery things. And I am stressed about this. I'm not anxious about things happening that aren't real. You know, I'm not thinking about what if next year I don't have clients anymore. That's anxiety.
Yes, that's anxiety.
You know?
You deliver a gallery and the couples, and you're wondering, will they like it? They haven't opened yet. What do they hate it? Do they hate me?
Yes.
Are these photos
you
no
think,
good?
Am I the worst photographer
Have I
in the
aged
world?
out? What's happening?
Yes,
That's
you start
anxiety.
thinking bigger picture. And it can be smaller too, but generally anxiety it can be tangible, but it's not typically solvable. I think that's the really shitty thing about anxiety. And if you do suffer from it, I'm so sorry. It's awful. But stress is normal. And I think that millennials, we were probably one of the first generation to really start talking about anxiety and stress.
Especially in the workplace.
Really commonly.
Yeah.
And
as part of like a thing where it's not like, it's just stress. It's part of the, you know where people go who hate their job? The bar. That's like, that's Gen X. That's
1,000%.
Boomer. That's like everything before us, basically.
Yeah. But the one thing I will say about stress that I think has gotten lost in the large conversation about anxiety is that stress is manageable.
Yeah.
You know what? It's literally called stress management for a reason. So because Tim and I like to be problem solvers in our own lives, like to remind ourselves of like some of the tools that we have in our kit to manage some of the stress.
Fred Rogers said it. If it's mentionable, it's manageable. So we live by that for the most part. We try to. We're not perfect. We're close. We're like right there.
Close.
I mean, we're close enough. We almost forgot to roll the 8 ball. So but I did remember.
But
so maybe that means maybe I'm
not.
perfect.
Maybe you are.
Maybe I'm perfect.
Okay. And you know what's crazy? Since last episode, we haven't been served with a cease and desist yet.
No.
To be fair, we don't have our contact information anywhere online. So that's really good.
Come get it. Don't come get us.
Shoot your shot. I mean, don't come to me individually. I'm not trying to give her solutions.
We did get to have a little bit of a fun We're Not a Gear podcast episode last week where we talked about our favorite Nikon Z lenses.
We did, and that was really fun, and I did enjoy it, and so far nobody's gotten mad at us. Actually, that's not true. We had one person, our friend Chris, tell us that we hated all of his favorite lenses, and to which I say, Chris, buy better lenses, bud.
Do better.
Just joking. You have some nice lenses. It's a tiered list. What can I say?
What can I say? We're opinions.
Are you going to roll this 8
we're
ball?
Brilliant. Yeah, I am.
What are you going to ask it?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I have no idea. I'm just going to shake it till it comes up with an answer.
Okay.
That's the question in my mind that I haven't asked yet.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Tim, you keep on shaking that thing. So just to give everybody a heads up of where we're going to go, we're going to talk about 5 helpful daily habits for photographers in the mid-season. We're going to also talk about 5 things that you should probably stop doing if you want your daily habits to improve.
Ask again later. So.
Oh, you didn't even ask it a question, but it said ask later.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay, well, that's a bit of a cop-out, but I'll allow it for right now because we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for it to be done. And
Progress.
That is the theme of this episode. So, number 1 on the 5 helpful daily habits for mid-season photographers is to do a 3-minute gear check. It's actually so funny that this is such a simple little thing, and it really takes... Well, about 3 minutes.
Do you do a gear check? Is a gear check something you do like before the night of a shoot or a wedding, or what's your schedule like for that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I actually try to make it preventative. So at the end of a shoot, I prepare for whatever the next shoot is.
You're packing as you go.
So it's not like tomorrow, especially at this time of year, I have at least one shoot every single day.
Yeah.
So last year I purchased this really cute little wire shelving unit for our home office because that's where all of my gear stays, is at our home office.
Yep.
And on it I have a charging tower.
Yes, I've seen this.
It's honestly so good.
Nice.
So it's like an extension cord thing, but at the end of it is a charging tower, and it has I think 9 110 volt, whatever, charging things. And then it also has some USB things on it.
Lovely.
And then I have a mat so I can organize batteries that need to be charged versus batteries that are currently charging.
Yep.
And then I have a system for where they go once they are charged. And then card strategy.
Yep.
I always like to make sure that I have I just have an absurd number of SD cards. If you're a logical person and you haven't done that, then just make sure that you are at the end of every shoot doing where is this card going? It's going into my computer to back up, and then putting a new card from wherever your cleaned
pool
off
of
cards,
new cards, fresh cards,
into a camera.
Yes.
So you should probably always have enough batteries that you have one that was in the charging block that can now go into your camera.
Correct.
And a card.
Yep.
So at the end of every shoot, that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
But before every wedding, the night before, I like to do a camera bag check because I bring different stuff to weddings than I do to like engagement sessions or family sessions or whatever, right? So it's nice to do that. And inevitably, if you leave it for the next day, you will be late running out of your shower.
You'll
and then, and you're going to be like, oh no, that battery isn't fully charged. And you're going to be doing what Tim and I've never done, which is trying to get a charge on your battery while you're driving a car.
Yeah.
Using a USB-C to charge your camera. Not an ideal. Not an ideal.
No,
so,
I had to, this past week, I had a wedding. We had a wedding together locally. And I had to, I realized that one of my Super 8 cameras I haven't used in a while. It's a really fancy one. It's the Nizo Braun S40.
Yeah,
it's like really
so
pretty.
cool.
Really pretty one. I realized that I was using the wrong batteries for a whole year for the exposure thing. So I needed 2 button batteries, not one with tinfoil, which is why I'm like, why was it always like a little bit like it was
laggy.
I was using color negative, so you could bring it back, you could expose, you could adjust with the highlights and deal with it. But I was always like, why is it so shitty? why is it always like a little bit overblown?
But the camera looks cool.
It looks cool. So I found the button batteries I needed the day before. I was like, I should look into that. And I did, and I found them, and I got them shipped from Amazon. And then I went to Henry's, but the only ones who had it in town. And I bought 2 backups just in case those didn't come. So
wow,
that was fun little exercise. But
I love that the film game is so wild for you that
Yes.
you really do be out here putting a tin foil and a button battery into your camera and being like, I hope that's exposed.
That's a common thing because they don't make certain mercury batteries anymore because of the obvious reason that it gives you mercury poisoning. So a lot of the cameras, Super 8 cameras from like the 70s and 80s, you need to like get resourceful with like lithium basically.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's a good idea to, check in with your gear and be like, why is this not working exactly how I want it to? And take that little extra time. Although I know time is
fickle bitch.
Yeah, really really limited at the moment. Speaking of time being limited at the moment, Tim, how do you feel about people posting on Instagram saying, everybody stop emailing me because I am aware that I am behind on my editing. Listen, this is a common thing. It sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, but imagine this. You're opening up your Instagram and there's a photographer saying, hey, everybody, it's been a super busy season. Your photos are in the queue. please don't email me to ask where they're at in the queue. Just know that they are being edited. Or the also extremely common and slightly less offensive, here's my editing queue, and it's just a list of people's initials.
I freaking hate that so much.
I do. I'm not going to lie.
Understand.
I think that we might get some pushback on that
Don't
because
care.
I know that there's
You're ridiculous
photographers
for doing
on
that.
here that do it.
Stop
and
it. There's a better way to communicate with people, and it's one-on-one. They paid you a significant amount of money, hopefully, for the work you're doing. You owe them an email at the least, not a broad. Maybe they'll see this post I put online, and then they'll stop emailing me and calling me or
but do you
worrying
know
about
who
me.
will see it?
Everyone who wants to hire you and thinks
1,500
you're a fucking jabroni for not communicating properly with your clients, and they will not hire you. So don't do that. I'm not trying to push you down. I'm not trying to be brr. I just need you to do better and try better, and not just post publicly. Market yourself as a shitty, productive person.
I'm glad you put yourself in timeout. That needed to happen.
It makes me so upset. Sorry.
Some breaths. All right. Well, that felt better.
We're back.
So, what we are going to do instead of Tim having a coronary arrest,
we're good now.
Going
I
into
got it out.
cardiac arrest there.
Just don't market against yourself. That's what you're doing.
Just send one quick client update. I will say it's embarrassing to be behind.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think if I just don't address this with my clients, maybe they're not aware. Yeah. I guarantee they're aware.
They're fully aware.
Tim sent an email out to a client before a deadline saying, I just want to let you know.
I sent her a text, actually.
Oh, even more personalized.
I get more personal. Yeah.
Because they got married at a place with a lot of seaweed.
Yes.
And he has been doing a lot of retouching.
And probably the most I've done in any gallery of my life.
It's a lot. It's a lot of retouching, and it's very unlike you to be behind on deadlines.
No.
But Tim sent a quick little text message, and she said, thanks for letting us know because we have been counting down the days
because they're aware
to the deadline.
They're
because
aware
our clients are so aware
of
their deadline and of what we have promised them. And I am far from perfect on this. I saw a thread the other day from somebody saying, why is it that photographers are so okay with not meeting their own self-imposed deadlines? And what I wanted to say was, we're not, babe. We're not okay with it by any means. Okay. But unfortunately, it has become quite common. And I think it has become common for a few reasons. One of them is we are overcommitted at specific times of year. So our amount of work that we have is super specific to certain times of year. And a lot of the time it's seasonal and weather related. And there's a million different reasons. You guys are listening to this podcast. You're probably photographers. You understand why things happen the way they happen.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's just radical honesty? They want to just put it out, the fact that they're...
The post, the queue thing?
The queue thing.
I think it's because 20 people did it. And then 20 people saw those 20 people do it. And now at least 10 photographers in just our area
think it's okay.
do it regularly. So I'm assuming that it's not a regional thing. But my feeling is I understand posting your queue. And especially if you're not posting it because you're delayed, it does look like you're posting because you're delayed. I will say that. And I think I've heard from other photographers. I spoke to another girl locally. I'm not going to out her now that you've just absolutely roasted everybody, Tim. But she's a friend of ours.
Okay.
But she said, what do you think about doing this? And I said, well, it's not for me personally. And she said, I just do it so that they don't send me an email ahead of time saying where are you at on editing things or asking people things. I think it comes down to a couple things. One, at the end of the shoot, giving them a realistic deadline of what you can expect. And I will tell people what I'm up to for the next week during their shoot so that they know where I'm at with things.
For sure.
If my contract says 2 weeks and I'm absolutely at the 2 week mark, then I will tell them, don't even expect it sooner. It's definitely not happening sooner. Yeah. And if I think I can get it done sooner, I'll say 1 to 2 weeks. I'm really hoping for 1, but I'll let you know. And generally, I try to abide by those as absolute best as I can. But in doing here's where you're at in my editing queue, it actually looks like you're really behind on everything.
And it's impersonal. This is what I was trying to get at. I'm sorry for shouting at you earlier. I apologize.
Thank God.
I don't want to get angry. I don't like getting angry.
We are in an orange studio that we did for summer, not for stress, but it is getting a little bit stressy in here.
It's also the air conditioning's off for audio purposes, but I just think it looks impersonal. It looks like you don't care enough to send them something personal, and telling them where you're at with their memories. And I think it's important to remember that they're human beings. Mm-hmm. They're not just a line item in your Excel spreadsheet of who you need to deliver. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of emotion behind the images that they're going to receive.
Yeah, so I like to think of...
Have a good association with that.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I like to think of my own customer experience.
Yeah.
And, I can put up with a whole lot, to be honest, as long as I know what's happening, as long as I'm completely aware of what's going on. I'm like pretty chill and pretty patient when it comes to my own experience as being a customer.
Yeah.
I just like an update. I just want to know, especially if it's something I've already paid for.
Yes.
I just want to know. And then if they don't, here's the thing. This is a real story. I will tell you. This has just happened this week. I shot a wedding last Saturday, and I sat at the table with some guests, and they were lovely. I had like a really fun time. I was yapping it up with them.
Yeah.
And one of the guests said that she followed me on Instagram already and knew who I was, and I was like, that's so nice. And what was it, Monday? I think it was Monday. I was in the studio, right? Tim and I had a really funny day on Monday, and both of us just had an unbelievable amount of phone calls.
Yeah, it was weird.
And I got a phone call from an unknown number, and I said to Tim, I'm going to roll the dice on this one. I'm going to answer it.
See what happens.
And it was a bride saying that she, it wasn't. It was one of the guests that I was seated with saying that she had gone into work. This is going to sound like I'm just pumping my own tires. I promise you I'm not. There is a point to this. She went into work and was telling all of her coworkers what a great experience she had at the wedding and how phenomenal the photographer was.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. I assume that's what she was doing. She was like, wow, this photographer was so great. And one of the coworkers said to her, oh my gosh, I wish I had that experience. Our photographer has been brutal.
Yeah.
She says, oh, tell me more. She had done engagement photos with this photographer months ago now and has not heard back from the photographer, has sent multiple check-in emails, finally got a response from the photographer saying, hey, you're in the queue, smiley face. As a response. To me, if somebody has sent multiple check-ins, it does require a bit more of an in-depth thing.
Yeah.
You can send somebody a quick check-in text.
Sure.
If you are close to being late or you're like a day late or something, it can just say, hey, so sorry I'm coming up on your deadline. I just want to let you know, haven't forgotten you and you're in the queue. Smiley face would be an acceptable thing. But I think when you're multiple weeks late on something,
you're in the queue, smiley face is not enough.
It's not sufficient at that point. So now am I not getting the call from this person saying, how do I get out of this contract?
How do I go with you?
Because I don't trust this photographer anymore. You've lost their faith in them.
Yes.
And this person's saying, and also, can we book you for our wedding and are you still available? I don't want to be taking somebody else's client. That's not fun for me. I want this photographer to
do better,
figure out what, and you know what? Be late on your deadline if that's your thing, but like just a more personalized experience probably could have saved them. But now they're going to have a really unhappy client and somebody who's probably going to threaten legal action against you, or at the very least a bad review.
And at the very least, they'll have a miserable time on the wedding day if they still go with them. It's still going to be an unpleasant
It's going to be so
experience.
awkward for everybody, right? So all of that to say, a quick update is really super helpful. If it's ahead of time, just rip off the Band-Aid and have ChatGPT write you an email if you're too embarrassed. And
all the little dashes. You know what I'm saying?
And your brain your brain is having a hard time processing how to go about saying it, because I get that also.
Totally.
Remove the double dash and remove the warmly at the end of it. I did learn that warmly is a chat thing. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I've never used it.
Okay, Tim.
Speaking of
cover
warmly,
off number 3.
Well, let's talk about one more thing before we get into this.
Okay.
The warmliness of this season. You're feeling it as a photographer.
It's so freaking hot.
I mean, let's talk about maybe 1 or 2 practical tips for just staying cool and keeping your clients cool, because it's insane out there
absolutely.
right now.
Why not? It is hot. She's steamy.
Yeah.
I bought a little fan on Amazon.
You did.
And I put it in my camera bag yesterday, and it was nice.
It's good.
That's the story that I have for you. What about you?
I bring a change of clothes.
Oh yeah, Tim, and he did a full change of suit the other day on our wedding on Saturday. That was really cute.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Wow, fashionista." Yeah. And Tim has these like cool weather suits that are very cool. Also, to look at.
They're physically cooling. They're good for. It's like I can't even describe the fabric, but it's like almost a pajama feeling to it. Kind of this like really nice.
Yeah.
But it's very cool.
It's giving Hugh Hefner for sure.
A little bit of a smoking jacket. So no, if you can bring extra clothes, even just to change your shirt, have
it's a
some
good
empathy.
idea.
If you're hot, your couples are hot, bring them inside. Air conditioning.
Unless you're shooting outside in a conservation area and your client said DC, which is also totally fine. I like the heat personally, but I also have a really intensely air conditioned car at all times. Whenever I can. Bring extra water for yourself,
hydrate,
your clients, if you can. That's always a good idea.
We're telling you things you already know. This is the obvious podcast right now.
It's the obvious podcast, but sometimes you need the reminder because it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
If you're just barely getting by right now, you need somebody, a little photographer mom saying, should you drink some water? When was the last time you charged your batteries?
Take your
both
vitamin
physically and on your camera?
Yeah, wear a hat. Sunscreen's good.
Sunscreen's always a good idea. So let's move on to what I think our third helpful daily habit.
Please.
And Tim and I are honestly on the highest horse imaginable when it comes to this right now because Tim and I have been working out, you guys. I don't know if you can tell, but Tim's looking really fit. Move your body even for 10 minutes a day. I have been doing Apple Fitness 30 minutes a day of strength training workouts, and then I've been doing 10,000 steps a day. And damn it, they're right.
You feel good?
It works, and I'm so mad about that because I was really hoping that lying on my couch watching Love Island was going to be the thing that would set me onto a great path in life.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's
actually.
not. Turns
That's
out.
so sad. Not one doctor has ever prescribed that. But moving your body is so sick.
Yeah.
And it's like, my joints all feel good.
Yeah.
We carry so much heavy stuff all the time.
Totally.
And I feel physically like just more capable
able.
able to do that. So move your body in a way that feels good for you, whether that's yoga, stretching. Like, I don't know, I'm not the police.
Yeah. Also, when you're having shoot days, like Lindsay shoots every day, maybe every 3 days at this point. My editing's insane. But schedule those days when you're working as like a not workout day. I don't want you to overdo it. Don't blow your whole, energy wad.
So I'll disagree with you on that one
really?
because you know what I realized?
You still work out on the wedding day? You work out in the morning?
I work out on a wedding day. I don't work out the day after a wedding.
Okay.
So I wake up in the morning after a wedding being like, I would like to be a vegetable now.
Got it.
And often that'll be a Sunday and I will maybe still have a family shoot later.
Okay.
I don't want to be waking up at 6 a.m. to do a workout.
No.
So I will say the reason why I've been like so on top of my workouts for the past couple of months now. The reason I've been able to do that is because I schedule them first thing in the morning, whatever that is for me that day. But typically my alarm is set for 6 a.m. I'm usually like up and at 'em and working out by 6:37.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, my laptop starts calling and then laundry starts calling.
Yes, organizing the kitchen starts calling.
I got to come into the studio and do a quick thing. There's just so many things that come up for me. So my goal is always doing it very first thing in the morning.
Top priority. Yeah.
Before a wedding, I have no problem doing it before a wedding because my energy reserves are still there. And honestly, as long as I don't do something insane.
That's what I mean. Like, don't go crazy. Do like a 20-minute or 10-minute. Don't go like a 45-minute.
I still do a 30. I still am doing a 30, but I just maybe will not use as like high of weights or something. I don't want lactic acid to build up in my legs during the ceremony when I take like a bend down and I'm like, help, I can't get up.
I can't get up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, stick to whatever thing feels sustainable for you. It feels like something that you could do every single day, whether that be 10, 20 minutes, doesn't really matter. Well, I'm sure it does actually matter.
It does matter.
But whatever feels doable for you and attainable for you.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you need to go for an hour long gym workout.
No.
The reason I like Apple Fitness is because I can do it at home and the barrier to entry is literally nothing.
It's literally nothing.
It's just mental. I need to just do this right now.
And that's one
thing. The
thing.
more regularly I do it, the easier that gets, right? To
For
just
sure.
say, I'm going to keep doing this now. It feels nice, don't you think?
Feels great.
I
was going to say, my thought around that is initially when I started to work out back in 2020 during the pandemic, I tried to get a schedule for myself of like 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and do this day, this day, this day. And that did not work. That fell off multiple times, many times over the course of 5 years. Only recently, in the last 2-3 weeks, I started working out more consistently. I told myself, you're going to decide the morning of if you want to work out.
Oh, interesting.
That day. And every day I've chosen to.
Oh, that's crazy. I was like, I would simply
giving myself the freedom to be like, do you want to work out today? And I say, yes. I say, okay, today's the day you're going to work out.
I like how different we are.
It's very interesting.
I would simply never work out if every day. So my thinking is I tell myself I work out every day.
Okay.
And I consciously make the decision to give myself a day off, but I'm also just meaner to myself than you are maybe.
Well, maybe.
But I consciously give myself there must be a rest day. And the rest day for me is the day that I actually couldn't possibly the next day because I have just worked out 6 days in a row or whatever. But all that to say, you got to do whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you.
If hauling yourself to a spin class 3 times a week is your move, love that for you.
Love it. As long as you're doing something.
Yeah. I maybe don't do hot yoga in this temperature if you live here where we do.
Also, don't sauna. I stopped sauning like a week and a half ago. It's just too much. It was intense.
Yeah.
It's too fucking hot.
It's way too hot to sauna. Okay. I do have another tip on movement.
Okay.
When you are waiting for something that your computer is doing.
Yes.
Do some squats.
Do some
stretching.
Organize the studio.
Do some push-ups. Walk around. Whatever the things are that are going to get some more steps in because we are so stationary.
Yes.
It's like running around a park for 3 hours or 2 hours and then you're like just sedentary. That's so rough. So while I back up cards, I try to walk around or I try to do something. That's just a little tangible, little thing.
Gift for you.
Tim?
You eating? Do you eat?
I like to eat food. Yeah. How about you?
Me eat food too. I like to eat food.
Yeah. That's kind of an and one. That's kind of an and one to the working out thing is like, we have said before, we used to live on a diet of Red Bull. We have grown. We've moved on to
matured.
A diet of protein and
different kinds of coffee. Yeah.
So make sure that you're eating real food. Like actually plan for that. This feels like your mom is here podcast. Eating real fruits and vegetables does help the brain. When you are feeling so stressed and you're feeling like, wow, I actually might implode on somebody and oh wow, now a person has dinged my car door and I actually lost my whole mind. Then you think to yourself, I'm going to eat a banana. Nice.
Wish I could be in that river right now. It looks so calming,
It does look really refreshing. But I'm picturing it being like a river in Ontario. It's probably just so hot right now.
Yeah, it's boiling. Wow.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Tim, before we move on to our final 2 helpful habits of the day, can we do a switch? Because I want to end on the two.
That sounds lovely.
I want to end this podcast with those 2 because I think that they're really nice.
Okay.
So let's move on to some shit that you should probably stop doing if you want to have a nicer rest of your season. Number 1.
Don't scroll before bed. Cut it out.
Stop scrolling.
It's tough. I know you want to have your goof off time and just kind of play on your phone before you go to sleep, but it's not helping you. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You know this.
Looking at other photographers' reels at 11:47 when you were like, my bedtime alarm was set for 10:30. There's probably a time to check in with yourself and say, no more. This isn't helpful.
This isn't helping anyone.
Scheduling your phone time, let me speak for myself. Scheduling my phone time has been one of the most helpful things that I have done because not only does it make me post more intentionally, it makes me consume more intentionally because consumption of content, unfortunately, is part of our jobs. Yeah. Like it is. It's knowing what's trending and knowing what our clients are interested in, knowing what other photographers are up to. It is part of, I think, my job at least.
Totally.
But not just scrolling for the sake of scrolling. And especially there's 6 world wars going on right now. Yeah. It can be really hard to not just want to be on your phone knowing what's happening at all times. It's
emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do my hello to Google in the morning. I ask what's happening in the news and then I do not check in with it because thankfully we do live in a very great place where we are not currently dropping bombs on anybody.
Touch wood.
Respect to Canada. And that feels nice for me. So I try to not be scrolling all the time. Otherwise, I will just be constantly trying to figure out what world leaders are doing and then also what other photographers are up to. It doesn't.
Political analyst.
I'm not an analyst.
You're not a lobbyist for these organizations and companies and
No.
fuel companies. Like, you're a human being taking photos.
No, like if anybody were to ask me,
Stay in your lane.
I would absolutely love to tell them my thoughts on it. But
Can you affect
nobody's gonna
any of these things by watching a reel?
No,
you cannot.
No, I think it's important for us to stay like
Educated.
informed and educated, and
Not from reels, my
and
friend.
have a stance. But Instagram
Reels
is not
entertainment. Yes.
Instagram is not the place for
No.
me. I have really tried to curate my Instagram so that I just have nonsense. So basically, I only see reels about weddings, dogs,
Yes.
hot dogs,
Hot dogs. Yeah.
and cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
I love a cigarette meme. I don't smoke. I do not smoke. I love a cigarette meme.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so niche. It's so niche. Oh, and then like hair and makeup styling tips. And those
What
are
about
my
lawn
things.
care? Do you lawn care?
I also love a lawn care.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim knows I've got a lot of weird shit going on. I've curated the feed so aggressively.
Yeah.
Nathan's Lawns is one of my favorite
it's good.
things. I just
Yeah.
love watching him clean up people's yards.
There's a guy who I think he's somewhere in. This is helpful, right? Go look him up. Anyway, there's a guy somewhere in the UK who has a shit garden, and he's using the help of ChatGPT to create it based on the image it showed him. He has no idea
Yeah.
what the fuck he's doing.
That's
He dug
amazing.
a drainage thing, like by hand. He was like cheap as hell. He had to like buy a pickaxe. Anyway, there's like a lot of stuff that's not in our lane. That's
But
not
truthfully,
helpful
I
before
think,
bed. But
yeah, but I will say that sometimes consuming content that has absolutely nothing
Yes.
to do with what we do
That is harmless.
feels very nice.
That is harmless,
I enjoy
yes.
looking at architectural,
totally.
magazines and like tangible books, whatever. I love to read.
Yeah.
There is content out there that feels nice that isn't a doom scroll and
But it's not before bed.
not before bed.
No.
Bedtime is not the time for that. So,
Lindsay, do you start your day with your inbox? I mean, I know the answer to this question, but I feel like a lot of like
I've actually gone back and forth on starting my day with my
Okay.
inbox
Interesting.
for a number of reasons. My inbox is my number one nemesis
Yeah.
at all times.
Sure.
I never feel like I'm the master of that domain, unfortunately. I've tried a number of things and thus far suffering through it along with the rest of the world is what I do. But I did used to think that like the very beginning of the day, I should start with the inbox, get the most annoying task out of the way.
Right.
And then, that would be an effective sort of use of my time. I start my day with a workout.
okay.
I go
talked about this.
outside.
Touch grass.
I water my garden.
Yes.
Literally, I have a massive garden going. I water the garden. And then the first work task I like to do is typically inbox related, actually. Yeah. Because I find that it just allows me to get rid of that one really shitty task of the day out of the way. Like I want the one thing that really causes me the most stress gone.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Get out the door.
And if I don't tackle it once a day, then it becomes I didn't tackle this for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like I'll respond to inquiries and people that I'm shooting with this week, but like random questions that people have for me or whatever, things just get built up in there and it gets spooky
Yeah.
to the point that like things that I really did want to reply to right away, I totally lose track of and I don't love that.
And you feel weird about replying 2 weeks later. So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So actually, I know many people say do not start with your inbox. I kind of say start with whatever task feels the most daunting for you. Get it done with, because morning hours are when our brains are the most creative. That's
Yes.
scientific. That's why starting with your inbox is generally not a good idea. However, once I get the email out of the way, did you like that? Once I get the emails out of the way, then my brain allows me to be like, bing,
Yes.
let's go be creative now.
Yes.
So I do typically then spend a few hours in the morning doing some editing or creating a reel or
Yeah.
doing whatever.
I'll
What
know
about
high
you?
level what I need to do, and I use the to-do list on my iPhone. There's a ton of good task apps out there, but I'll have no high level basically what I need to do for the week, whether it's editing queue, emailing specific people, coming up with a schedule, responding to an inquiry that came in the night before at 10 o'clock, because that's when couples email you. They don't email you at 9 a.m. They email you 10 o'clock the night before. You look at it, you're like, oh, cool, inquiry. I will respond at a time that doesn't seem insane. And I know what that is. So I'll make a list of like things I will complete today. And it's an ongoing list. There's things on there that have been on there for months, to be honest.
Things I'll do today
they're high level
that didn't
things,
happen in February.
They're high level things that are like work on the business as opposed to work in the business. So it's like update marketing materials, update, print a book out for the chapels. So they have print material, like stuff like that. It's things that aren't on fire and are like really nice to have as opposed to need to haves.
May I make a recommendation?
Please.
Okay. So you remember my like habit tracker, like daily practice thing that I created?
Tracker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, not my workflow tracker.
Oh, pardon me.
I've got so many resources you wouldn't even believe.
DLC.
But I used to have, I used to do this more frequently. I've gotten a little bit away from it, but honestly, it was quite helpful. I would have like a priorities list instead of a to-do list. I know your to-do list works really well, but this is sort of like marrying the to-do list with the priorities
list. Sell me this pen.
So basically the idea is that you come up with, if I get one task done today and one task alone, I want it to be this one thing.
Okay.
And then you have like, and these two things would also be good. And if I get done those two things, then here's 5 more things.
Got it.
Right? Generally speaking, your hope is that at least number 1, maybe 2 and 3 get done. And then anything else from there gets carried over to the next day.
Got it.
But these would be nice to do things that are the working on the business that you don't want to forget. Like, I need to make sure that I update my marketing materials for next year's wedding season or next year's wedding show.
Open houses. Yeah.
That's probably something on there, right? You don't want to forget to do that, but it's surely not trumping the wedding that you need to deliver today. That's number 1. So there's a monthly. This is what I want to do this month. This is what I want to do this week. And this is what I want to do this day. Anything that gets done on the monthly obviously gets removed. And then next month, anything that's still on there gets moved to the next month. Generally speaking, if it's still on there month to month, I would hazard to say it's probably not all that important to you. Yeah. And it will probably be more important to you at some point.
Maybe kick that can down the road to like off season, December.
And I like to have like a good ongoing, like
aspirational goals.
This would be so checklists. Wouldn't that be so nice if we could have the time to do that, right? Like I like to have that kind of a list, but I think that I would like to do this today list is great, but it should only really be things that you believe that you should and will do today.
Yeah, true. So
it's kind of, I think you need 2 lists.
Okay.
That's what I feel. That's how I feel.
I'll make a list of 2 lists.
Because if you look at your list, you are going to feel shame that you did not complete the things that you were going to do today.
Yeah.
Because you had no business in doing those today. It's not a today's task. Do you know what I mean? So make another list. Make another little list for yourself.
I'll make a new list.
I love a list. Everybody knows that. Speaking of shame. And the shame around your lists. Don't look at your editing queue feeling shame.
No. There's
truly nothing to be ashamed of on your editing queue. I absolutely guarantee that.
We can't speak for you. We don't know.
I'm going to use the caveat of if you're that woman that we made that podcast episode of that never delivered to her clients for like a year,
bit of shame.
Feel some shame.
Bit of shame.
But if you are shame staring at your editing queue,
guess what you're not doing?
You're probably not actually editing, right? And that's when we disassociate.
That's when anxiety kicks in.
I'm going to just go and do this quick task here and this thing here because shame is what sort of stops us dead in our tracks. And then when you actually do go to edit it, it's going to take you longer.
So much longer.
Instead of just actually tackling it, being like, this is all good. This is all manageable because it's mentionable.
Fact.
So that would probably be a thing that I would not do. What about you, Tim?
Do you, obviously. It's one of those things that like, either way I slice it, I'm going to have to do this work anyway. I might as well just attack it.
100%.
And leads to the next point of like telling yourself you're going to catch up, giving yourself like, oh, I'll take today to chill out on the couch and I'll get working on that on Friday. Even if you set aside an hour today to do something, take away a little bit of that editing cue or that response, or think about a concept that you want to employ into this year's wedding ideas, whether it be like film or a new technique or learning off-camera flash, things like that. Yeah. Just spend like 15-20 minutes and I guarantee you'll probably be like hooked enough to want to do a bit more, and then you won't feel so bad.
Yes. Yeah. Like I find that saying like, oh, that's like tomorrow me's problem.
Yeah.
But tomorrow you will have new problems.
Totally.
Tomorrow you will have new tasks that need to be completed. If I leave an editing task or an email task or something that I'm like, oh, well, I'll have more time tomorrow. Tomorrow's schedule will get eaten up because yesterday you thought today you would have more time. I'm sure this sounds like a motivational quote, but literally that is true.
The you of yesterday.
The you of yesterday is not happy, but you will feel so much more proud of yourself if you can go to bed at night thinking, oh, I did that thing. That feels so good. Even if I only got part of the way through it, try to not say that's tomorrow's problem or I'm going to catch up on it tonight. There is nothing noble about working until 3:00 in the morning because you have poor time management skills.
I can't wait to start taking our own advice. This is going to be so nice next coming week.
Well, I don't work into the wee hours of the night anymore because I am such a grandma, but you are bad for it. You were in the studio until midnight last night.
I was here late last night.
I know. We're literally pointing the finger with 3 pointing back at us. I hope you all know.
No. So
these are all things that we're not perfect at for sure. Or they're things that we are better at now because we sucked at them for so long.
It's as much as a reminder for you as it is ourselves.
Yes, for sure.
Ourselves as you.
Yeah. The not telling yourself to catch up on it tomorrow is so critical because I think that's the thing that my biggest issue is that if I have 2 shoots in a day, I generally need to be editing 3 every day. Right? That's just the math that makes the most sense for me because there will be days that I can't edit anything. If I have a full wedding day or a full day out of the studio or my home office, like a full day gone because now I'm adding to the queue.
Yes.
It gets a little bit spooky.
It's helpful, like for video weddings, what I started doing, because I would leave everything for like the last 2 weeks and be like, okay, I need to work on this now because I've had so many things piling up between other shoots. The first thing I'll do within the first week of getting, finishing a video shooting a wedding video client, within the first week, I'll edit the entire ceremony and all the speeches. Mm-hmm. So those are done. Those are done and dusted. Those are complete things. They're edited, they're exported, they're off my plate. And then I only have to think about creatively what I need to do for the highlight edit. Which is helpful because I don't have to worry about like, while I'm editing the highlight, I'm not thinking about the ceremony edit and how I need to sync all these cameras and all this audio together and then decide where I want to cut and chop, but it's all done. And then ultimately all of that stuff, all of that content feeds into the highlight. I previewed at that point. I know what it finally looks like.
Yeah.
I feel more excited
organized.
about it. Yeah.
I feel the same way for me for photo editing.
Okay.
That's the cull for me.
Okay.
So I cull everything within a day or two.
Yeah.
Because I use Imagine. So I'll back it all up. The workflow is honestly incredible.
Yeah.
So I back it all up from my SD card or CF card or whatever onto my hard drive. From the hard drive, I then import it into Lightroom, the whole thing. Okay. And then from there, I open it up into Imagine. I hit cull. It applies my preset, my profile to it. So everything that it culls has my own
which is so nice
edited look on it already.
Yeah.
And then I'm like 80% of the way done. And I try to do that like the day after a wedding. So really all I have left is retouching. It just feels like such a less daunting task.
Totally.
So that when I do get to it, I don't have to do 100% of the job.
Yeah.
If I have to do 100% of the job, if I have to cull it, I have to edit, color correct it, and I have to then retouch it.
Yes.
It just feels awful.
Yeah.
So if you can help out future you by doing some portion of the task and then obviously using a workflow tracker to remind yourself as to where you are, that will make it all so much better.
Yeah. If you want to get ahead of it and even like do the culling, take a break, or do the culling and just do the getting ready and then have that done and then come back for the rest of it.
And sometimes when I get behind, I will due to like, okay, so I'll give you an example. I was behind 2 weeks ago, I would say, on my editing. I was a few days late on a couple of different sessions.
From May or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Basically when our cat died. Times were not really fun the weeks leading up to when she passed. And most of my clients knew. And then the week of, like, I wasn't editing, truthfully. And no one would have wanted the work that I would have edited for them. It wouldn't have been to the same level that I hoped for. I don't use that as an excuse. I think that our personal lives, unfortunately, have to be set aside for clients' deliverables. We're talking like extended family shoots for people and stuff that like they were pretty chill on, thankfully. But I I was still digging myself out of that queue while editing or while bringing in new work.
Yeah.
And instead of adding to that whole queue and then trying to go back and sludge through that, I was finishing things that I was doing right away because they're fresh and they're so much easier for me to edit. Like,
you have the memory of
yeah.
what
So
you
I'd
shot.
be like, okay,
Yeah.
instead of me adding this one tonight and trying to go backwards, I would edit the one that I did that night, not deliver it right away because that's just not like it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair, but it's there and it's ready and it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm not adding another thing to my editing queue or into
It's
the
still
workflow.
fresh in your mind. You know what you shot. You
But
know what you
it's-
didn't.
It's done. And,
Yeah.
and if I have the time, it'll be easier for me to finish that one right now. So instead of it taking me 2 hours, maybe it'll take me
Yes.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I can go back and I can work my way through. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I feel like digging yourself through a pile and not adding to it feels somehow better.
No, absolutely.
Than going back and spending that time going back to the beginning of the pile.
Yeah,
if
when
that
I
makes
do
sense.
DTK chapel weddings, the ones that are like 45 minutes to 90 minutes, let's
Mm-hmm.
say if it's like a longer one, those will be done and edited before the day is done.
Yeah.
I will
that's
just
so
sleep on it a
nice. Mm-hmm.
bit and be like, I'll upload these in 2 days, and then they get their photos within a week. But like, look, that's because the sessions are like 45 minutes. Like
Mm-hmm. Yes.
they're so simple, they're so formulaic, and it's just nice to have those off my plate.
If there's
not to worry
something
about
less
it.
complicated that you
Yeah.
can get out the door, there is something to be said for checking off things that just give you a little bit of a, okay, I've done a thing. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
feeling like you've accomplished something. And that's part of the like thing that I used to use, like this like productivity planner. Essentially the thing that I would love was at the end of the day saying, what did I accomplish today? And
Right.
like, what did I actually do? Because it feels really good to remind yourself that, yeah, you actually did do a thing, because it's very easy to feel like you didn't do it.
Yeah.
The sort of last thing I think on our don't do it, and I think that this goes back to the doom scrolling, but
Yes.
which is comparing yourself to everybody's highlight reel. Every single one of us is feeling some level of I rock and I suck
Yes.
almost every single
you
day,
go.
right? We are all feeling that in some form or another. And if all you're doing is looking at somebody else's output, you have no idea what their inbox is looking like. You have no idea how many shoots they were sitting on before they were able to post that one.
Yep.
If you're seeing people posting, it's possible it's because they're not shooting anything and they're wondering, oh my God, like I haven't booked a new thing in so long.
Yeah.
I need to start posting. We have no clue.
We have no idea. They also could be procrastinating and working on the easy thing, which is maybe a social post that's like, oh, I'll just get this out the door. That feels productive, even though I haven't actually edited the entire thing. It's just a few short preview images. I'm like, that feels good. And it feels good. It's nice. You know, it's nice to like put things out in the world you're proud of, you're excited about, but maybe they haven't completed the entire task and they're just kind of procrastinating themselves. And that's not nice.
And honestly, being in the fortunate position we are with
Yeah.
like so many friends that are educators, I can tell you firsthand that the people that you are seeing with tons and tons of viral views
Yes.
and tons of followers, they're still struggling through all of their own shit too. Like,
Totally.
do not believe that just because somebody has, 500,000 followers and they're blah, 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 they're doing it. Like, their day still might suck.
Yeah.
They might still be struggling to get clients. You might literally be booking more work than some of the people that you look up to. That's just
It's facts.
a fact.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Keep that in
Remind
mind.
yourself of that. Let's talk about a few tangible things, and then let's go back to our two final things that we think that you should do.
Please.
Do. So tangible thing that we obviously love, and I think we would be
Remiss.
Remiss. It's okay.
Grimace.
I don't know. Google it. That's for me, not for you. That we would be remiss to mention is that obviously none of our lives would be as easy as they are, even though they are not easy, without the help of Imagine.
Yes.
That's not sponsored, although they maybe give me a couple of bucks when you guys sign up. But maybe it's you actually, Tim. I think it's your code on there, but you can get 1,500 free edits from Imagine.
Heck
and
yeah.
I say this because as a person who was not really a big fan of
Bulk
early
editing.
adoption.
Yeah, okay.
Early
Yes.
adoption. I'm not a huge early adopter. I like to see other people struggle through something and screw it
Totally.
up first, and they can tell them what's wrong with their beta. I don't want to do that because I don't have the time.
You're not a guinea pig.
now is probably the time. If you're freaking out and you're looking at your thing, one of my favorite things that I've ever said to somebody on a Facebook group was somebody was in like Unscripted or one of these Facebook groups, and they were saying my backlog is so big,
yes,
and I'm freaking out, and I need someone to help me figure out what to do because I'm literally freaking out. Like I the end is not in sight, and I am months late on things, and I don't know what to do, and they were just looking for some help.
They were spiraling.
Right?
Yeah.
And most people were saying, just get to work, or tell your clients you're going to be late. And while I do agree with both of those statements, just because sometimes not posting on a Facebook group is probably the best thing you could be doing, don't post here.
Yeah.
Go and do the thing.
Go do the thing.
But if you want the cheat code, I would say go and do the thing with Imagine, truthfully, because if you do have some help, if you are so far behind, I absolutely guarantee you that you're not using AI editing. I absolutely guarantee it, because if you're using AI editing, the only reason you could get that behind is because you have taken on way more work than you should have.
Which is wild.
Or you are not working enough.
Yeah.
It's one of those two things. You've taken on way more work and you're not charging enough to make this sustainable, or you unfortunately have taken treat yourself a little bit too seriously and you're enjoying your summer a little bit too much. It actually is a job, unfortunately, some days.
Yeah.
But use your free 1,500 free edits from Imagine to test run whatever it is that you, whether you want to use a talent profile or if you want to use your own custom profile. Starting a custom profile will take some time.
You have to upload at least 10,000 images of your
3,000, in fact, might I.
Okay. 10,000 for fine tuning. Pardon me.
Yeah, I think honestly, the more that you have, the better. If you have last year's Lightroom catalogs that you can upload and you've got 10,000 edited images in it,
let it rip.
Toss them in there, buddy.
Yeah.
If not, find a profile that looks really similar to yours, add your preset to it later. You can always reach out to Tim and I. We will walk you through this process, because I don't want anybody to ever feel like, you guys keep talking about Imagine, but we don't get it. Reach out. We're happy to help you.
If you're struggling with marketing and you want a very inexpensive, but valuable method to make creating reels very simple for yourself and to showcase your work in a way that's unique, but also trending, using trending audio, using incredible templates that are drag and drop. Social templates is the one for you. Click the link below.
Yeah. And I know this just sounds like quite the big ad, but we mean these things so emphatically. Like the social templates allows me to make reels within 3 minutes. Yeah. Like all I do is I take the one video that I remembered to take at a shoot,
the one BTS that I captured at the back of your head.
I go into Pic-Time and I sort by vertical images, vertical orientation, and whatever social templates has said I needed. If it's 19 photos, if it's 10 photos, whatever it is, I download that many. I put them into a folder named as the client's name with the same little video popped in there.
Yep.
I open up Instagram, I select the template, and I just drag and drop them in, and quite literally that with an on-screen hook and a caption. Mwah.
If you're out of ideas, Angela Shea, the founder of Social Templates, also posts regularly on the community page about different topics you can cover.
Seriously, she makes it so easy. Go and watch the episode we had with Angela, because she's also gave so many super helpful tips in that.
Lastly, downloadable content. Talk about your workflow tracker, Lindsay.
Workflow tracker. So I have a workflow tracker. I posted it on my education blog a couple weeks ago now, I think, because I posted like basically my start to finish 2025 workflow for anybody who's like, I feel like I'm not doing this right, or I feel like I could be doing this better. Here's what I do. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it works for me for sure. I have a workflow tracker. It's super, super simple. There is not rocket science at all, but it's like an Excel spreadsheet. It's in Google Sheets. You can download it and use it yourself. I've talked about it on here before. It has your client's name, the date that you shot a thing, the date that it is due, where you're at in the editing process.
The SD card you used.
Yeah, the SD card that you used, the number of images that you shot on it, so that you can sleep well at night knowing, those are all there. I feel good about that. Whether you've culled it, whether you've edited it through Imagine, whether you have gone through and retouched it yourself, all of those things are all in there.
Yeah.
It feels so nice. And it's that thing that when you are feeling that shame spiral of, oh my God, I can't breathe because I'm so far behind.
Little touchstone.
It's
right?
just a little touchstone to go and look. And I do it at this time of year. I do it once a day. I go and look at it and make sure I've updated all the fields, because it's a spreadsheet. You're going to forget to update some of the fields as you go. Sometimes you might have to do that once a week and just go back and be like, okay, I should re-update some of these things. But it allows you to look at it and be like, oh, I'm actually not that far behind. I got 6 shoots to edit. That's no big deal. That's manageable. Here's my plan to edit those now.
Yes.
You know, you put that into your new calendar. Like,
It's hard to know where you're going if you don't know where you've come or where you come from. Is that it?
I don't know.
Doesn't
but
matter.
I will say, just having a plan in place, knowing what that is, allows you some more time to just go outside and touch grass. Because, you know, the fitness, the eating well, all of that is nothing if you're not spending some time out in nature, reminding yourself that life's actually pretty good. Which brings us to our last 2 points of some helpful daily habits to bring in. Tim, number 5. He's with me.
Number 5.
Name one win from the day.
You need to name
This
a win.
is yours, Tim.
I've talked about this
Tim
a lot.
loves this.
I love getting a win on a day, any day of the week, when I just feel like the world's stacked against me and I want to make sure that I'm, you know, at least doing something right. Finding small wins, whether that's looking at your workload tracker and seeing the shoots you've done and what you're really proud of. Maybe you think about the past weekend of a couple you shot and you made them laugh, or you took a really cool image that they were really excited about. Just reflect on a win. It doesn't have to be new. It doesn't have to be overly exciting, but you know, remind yourself that you are doing really well, and like give yourself a little treat. Go for some ice cream. Celebrate that little win.
Tim, I had a win right before we got in here because I was having a little bit of a rage at my emails.
Yes.
And I've had some clients ghosting me. I got a girl haggling me over the price of stuff, and I was not
Feeling it.
Somebody dinged my freaking car. It's honestly so good. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I do feel better. So I sent out a bunch of follow-ups to, I had like 4 client calls last week. Not one of them has paid
Nary
me.
one yet.
Not one has paid me yet. All of them have contracts and all of them have the ability to pay me. But not one has paid me quite yet. And that's okay. You know, it's totally okay. But
However,
right before we started this, I got a response from one saying, Lindsay, thanks so much for checking in. I'm waiting on some details from the venue and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And honestly, that's all I needed. Turned my day right around. I was like, hell yeah, sister.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's all you need. You just need one person. And sometimes it's external. Sometimes it's that somebody does give you the win that you were looking for. And sometimes you have to give the win to yourself. And Taylor said something to me really great yesterday, because I've been in the weeds, truthfully, the last couple of weeks. Just nothing like terribly in particular. I said to Tim, like, I've been working out. I thought I was supposed to be like healed. I thought I was
a perfect being.
Yeah, I thought I shouldn't have any stress anymore.
That's what they sold us.
But I was leaving the house. I had a very full day ahead of me, and it was so hot. It was just so hot, and I think the heat was really getting to me. And I had done my workout, and then I immediately went into organizing and doing laundry and just a bunch of nonsense shit. And as I was leaving the house, Taylor was like, have a nice day. And I was like, I'm going to try. But I was like, I was not in it.
Okay.
And he said to me, just remind yourself that you are living the dream that a lot of people have for themselves every single day.
Can you say that again over this?
Just remember that today you are living the dream life that either you, little you, once dreamed of, or that other people wish that they had every single day. It's brought to you by Calm, the Calm app. But yeah, honestly, that's sometimes just, I said to Taylor, thank you so much. I actually really needed that, because the other thing that I like to remember is that it is not my client's fault that I am tired.
Yeah.
It is not my client's fault that I am sweaty. Well, actually, it is their fault. I'm out there with them. But
They chose July.
But it's not my client's fault that I'm
No,
tired, and it's never our client's fault that we are behind or
Yeah.
that we're burnt out or any of these things. It's our responsibility to go and manage our own shit so that we can show up as the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly bring them at that time. But like, if you're finding yourself getting spicy with people, if a normal email, hey, just checking in on this, sends you into a spiral, it's probably a sign that it's you, not them.
Absolutely.
And I do be taking that advice every single day because I am grateful to my clients that they want to hire me and they want to pay us to do this thing, because literally currently we are yapping on a podcast and we're calling it work. So, it's not well-paying work, I will say, but it is work.
If you want to sponsor our show, we'd love to talk to you about that.
Tim's like, please, God,
Please, all of this
someone
equipment.
pay me. But just a quick little gratitude reminder that this is a pretty cool job.
Yeah, it's a really cool job, and you're probably a couple years in, maybe it's your first year, but you're exactly where you're supposed to be and where you want it to be when you started this thing. So even if it doesn't feel like it's
And if
maybe
you're
come
not,
very
you're
far,
on the path.
you're on the path, dude.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Happy, I don't know, 4th of July. I literally don't know what
Who
day
knows
it
what day
is.
this
But
goes out
thank you
sometime.
guys so much for being here. We appreciate you
so much.
Tim and I are so hot because we have had the air conditioning turned off and it is 36 degrees Celsius outside. So we're going to go drink some water, perhaps touch some grass ourselves, and we will see you here next week.
We'll leave you with this.
It's gorgeous.
It's lovely. See you guys next week.